Assalamu alaikum. I'm Zaki Bika and you with us in the lab, empowering, inspiring and informing our viewers. You know that icky feeling you get following yet another argument with your partner on the same issue for the 37th time, and you just know deep down in the pit of your gut that something is terribly wrong. People often get this gut instinct early on in a relationship, but will try to talk themselves into ignoring it. Big mistake. That deep-seated feeling is your wise inner voice that says, this relationship isn't normal. Today we talk about narcissistic personality traits. With us in studio today is Nadia Lateef, a qualified physiotherapist, master life coach and motivational speaker. Assalamu alaikum, Nadia.
Walaikum salam. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Your information and your intellectual capacity is really, really overwhelming, and we needed you once again right here. Okay. So about this topic, Nadia, why the sudden awareness in this term? We haven't heard it before, or rather we were oblivious to it before. Why suddenly? Is it something new, narcissism?
It's actually not something new. It started around the 1900s, where there was this psychotherapist or analyst who, his name was Otto Wren, and he discovered in the 1911s that he linked narcissism to self-validation, self-admiration, and vanity. And interestingly enough, the Greeks and the Romans had this myth that there was this guy, and his name was Narcissist. And he was a good-looking guy, and there were a lot of women who wanted to marry him. And one day as he walked past the river, he saw his reflection in the river.
Okay.
And when he saw himself, he literally fell in love with himself. And he was so taken by his good looks that he literally stayed there the whole day, unable to draw himself away from that image of himself, that he actually fell into that river and he drowned. And that's where narcissism or narcissists basically comes from Romans and Greeks. But it has been around, and actually now with social media and all people taking selfies and everything about self-validation. I mean, not necessarily does it make you a narcissist.
Yes.
But there are so many different traits which would tell a person whether or not you are one. Obviously, it's not a disorder per se, but it's about the traits that you carry. And basically, a person who's a narcissist is actually somebody who's got a very big ego.
Okay.
Everything is about them.
Right.
And they always want special treatment wherever they go.
Okay.
Also, it has to do with self-validation. People must acknowledge what they have done. And obviously, there's 4 types of narcissists, which I will explain to you.
Okay, perfect. So as you're saying this term, this is great information. I never knew this about, I've been following narcissists and narcissism, but I never knew where it originated. So does this make it only a male concept?
Honestly speaking, with research that has been done, it is more prone in males than in females.
Okay.
And the percentage there would be 80 to 20% males to females.
Okay.
But yes, you do get the female narcissist as well.
Okay.
Also, on that note, people like Steve Jobs, people like Bill Gates, if they didn't have that drive where, they push so hard, we wouldn't have had Microsoft. We wouldn't have had Apple.
Yes.
And that had narcissistic traits within them. And a narcissist is a channel for success. They are the types of people who will get the job done because they lack empathy. Narcissists lack empathy.
Okay, so I'm just going a bit off topic here. So is it similar to a type A personality that they call, or not really?
Not even. It's way beyond that. Because for them, if you have an employee who's working for you and they need to get the job done and you say, my dad's sick, suck it up. We need to get our work done.
Okay.
That's basically what it's about.
So there's a fine line between getting the job done and being narcissistic, or a good part and a bad part to it?
So I would say this. If you got a narcissist in your firm's going to succeed.
Okay, there we go.
Literally,
simple.
because they are so driven by their ego that they need to prove a point and they need that external validation.
Okay.
And funny enough, most narcissists lack confidence and there's a lot of insecurity about them. But then you get the different types, which I will obviously explain shortly, but it's all about that.
Okay, so I'm still intrigued about this because I'm particularly driven and I will make sure that my family succeeds and my job gets done and that. How does that now differ?
So you look at the traits of narcissists.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So we're going to get to that in a minute.
Yes.
So is it a narcissistic personality or disorder or traits? Does it just develop overnight or is it a long-term?
It doesn't develop overnight. Narcissism starts from poor parenting, funny enough.
Wow.
So how it works is the following. You would get parents who have these children who excel academically.
Right.
And they A students, and then they the captain of this team or that team.
Right.
And everything's about my son achieved this, my daughter achieved that.
Okay.
So what they're doing to this child is they're putting this child on a pedestal. And all the merits and all the achievements are basically about that. And then what happens is everybody looks around and they think this is like the perfect family. The mother's always present at all these functions and all these soccer events or whatever it is. But then what happens is when they come home, the parents are not present and emotionally there for these children. Okay. So their emotional boundaries are actually not totally, absolutely lacking.
So, okay, again, I'm confused. So who's the narcissistic here? Does the child become the narcissist?
The child becomes the narcissist.
From the parent rearing the child in this way.
Correct.
Oh my gosh, this is pretty serious.
Yes.
Okay.
So what happens is a child would come to their mom and they would say, now they've had this amazing day. There's so many achievements. There's so many awards, you know, and the mom stood by her child very proud. And then when she comes home, she literally switches off, or the dad. And the child will say to the mom, can we play a board game? And the mom will say, I'm busy. Or she's too busy with her Instagram or this or that.
Okay.
And she's not there for that child emotionally. So the child grows up thinking, I'm only acknowledged on my merits. So what does this child end up doing? He wants to succeed. He wants to be egotistical. He wants to be driven because now he's getting attention from his mom because he's not getting it any other way.
Okay. So now that makes better sense. Thank you so much for that.
There's one more thing. Even parents who are very cold and parents who are very controlling, they can create narcissists from their own children.
So, like you say, it's a parental problem. It starts from childhood and it just grows. And does it escalate?
It can.
Okay, let's go on to that about the escalation.
Obviously, it would have to do with your life experiences,
right?
And obviously, where you're working. Okay. And the type of family setup, whether it stays the way it is or does it disintegrate.
Okay. So now the child wants to achieve, right? And that's like maybe a good part of him being positive and driven and wants to achieve. What's the negative part of this narcissistic behavior that this child has picked up now?
They lack empathy. So they hurt somebody and they don't feel sorry about it. And obviously why men are more prone to be narcissists than women is because children or boys, as they are growing up, when they have an injury, then the parents say, man up, suck it up.
Okay. Yes.
You know, this is what, you shouldn't be a sissy and you shouldn't cry and whatever. Okay. So they teach them to lack empathy from that young age. And that's how they develop with these lack of emotions and feelings.
Oh my gosh, so it is. So we did a topic earlier on about helicopter parenting and also it's all these things integrated and wow, it's totally amazing. How does one identify the traits of a narcissistic? If you say it's from childhood, how would you pick it up?
I would think that, you know, the first sign would be very egotistical and everything is about them. Selfish, very, very selfish. It's all about me and I deserve special treatment wherever I go. Those are traits of narcissists.
Okay. So are we talking this when they are kids, or this is in
It starts
adulthood?
building up, and it gets worse as they
You
peak
see
into
this.
adults.
Okay. All right.
And so they lack empathy.
Right.
They have these jealous streaks.
Okay, so it's empathy. Then you said selfishness. Okay. The jealousy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get back to where I was.
No stress. Jealousy on who?
If somebody does better than them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one of the types of narcissists that you get. So there would be jealousy, there'd be lack of empathy, there'd be the self-entitlement.
All right.
A lot of self-entitlement. They constantly need to be validated.
Yes.
When they do something, they want that acknowledgement. Okay. And that's why when you get into a relationship with a narcissist, they will tell you they love you first because they need you to tell them that you love them back.
All right.
And because that's what they live off. They need to hear that.
Okay.
That is part of their drive. There's so many other traits of narcissists. I'm just trying to think of all of them right now. But yes.
This entire new millennial generation we're bringing up are very self-entitled. Are we hearing a generation of narcissists?
It's very possible, because if you look at parenting a couple of years back to parenting now, there's this huge shift.
Yes.
And previously, I think if I speak on my own behalf, my parents would be the type of parents, if you did something wrong at school, they would go speak to the teacher and you get reprimanded for bad behavior.
Yes.
And today you find a lot of parents don't want to hear their children did anything wrong.
No.
And they want to stand up for the child and go fight with the teacher.
Yes.
And so, it's
so we are going. Yes, we are going.
And then you teach this child it's okay to disrespect an adult. And then they grow up and it's okay. My parents are there. My parents are going to stand up for me.
Yes. Okay, this is really, really interesting. Okay, so Nadia, now that you find yourself in a relationship with a toxic person, how do you respond to his behavior?
I would tell most women to run. And the reason I would say that is because a narcissist cannot change. Yes, you can teach them about empathy, and you can teach them to become a little bit more empathetic.
Okay.
But their traits are going to be there. And back to the traits I was telling you, which I didn't actually complete. They're very superficial. They're very good at throwing tantrums. And they've got really bad anger issues. And when that anger blows up, it's very, very frightening for the family or friends or the children, whoever is involved in that situation.
Okay.
And obviously the lack of empathy, like I said, the jealousy, the sense of entitlement.
Yes.
And they're very, very concerned about their appearance. So appearance is everything. You would have them wanting to go out with a woman who's very attractive to compliment them. And she must dress very well. And they would want to be friends with people who dress well.
Oh my gosh, so that's where the superficial
correct.
Fits in, yes. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's insanely difficult to understand. And you working or you revolving, your life revolves around a lot of people that are that type of personalities, yet you won't pick it up.
Yes.
Why is that so?
Well, it depends on whether you have the knowledge about it and whether you're in that field of knowing these type of things. But then, gradually with time, you do pick up people's traits and characters and the way they go on.
Okay.
And from there, you'd be able to deduce that something here isn't right. And obviously, if you go read up on the types of things these people do, you pick it up. This is a narcissist.
Okay, so in this thing, you are in this relationship now, and you say, run. What if you're in love with this person?
Yes, that's a tough one. Sometimes love is not enough. You need to know your worth. Yes. Because let me tell you the most important thing about what narcissists do. They come into your life. They'll be the first one to tell you, I love you, like I said. They will take out all your secrets. Your deepest, darkest secrets. They will gain your trust because they will first tell you stuff about them. And then when you open up to them, they will hold those secrets against you. They will use it against you because they want you to be weak. They don't ever want you to leave. And if you leave a narcissist, you're going to have super major drama in your life. They will go to the edge of the earth to make your life a living hell. They will slander you. They will do whatever it takes to bring you down because it's that ego.
That they have to
That
stay
they
on,
have to,
stay
they
on
have
top.
to end the relationship. You're
Not
not
you.
allowed to end the relationship.
Oh my gosh, this almost seems like an episode of Criminal Minds.
Well, let me tell you that there's one type of narcissist. It's the covert narcissist.
Right.
They are the best criminals because they lack empathy on another level. These are the secret narcissists, and they are the ones who, I beg your pardon, it's not the covert, it's the malignant narcissist.
All right. Okay.
What they do is they lie.
Right.
They're disloyal to the people they work for, to their family members. They make the best criminals because they'll steal money from their company and they'll think nothing of it. And it's just, they very similar to the grandiose classical narcissist, which is, I'm an extrovert, I'm worried about how I look and who I hang around with, and the people I hang with need to have the same appearance as me. And they don't listen. You can give them the best advice. No, they know better. They will not take your advice.
Oh my gosh, this is really a very, very wide and interesting topic, and we need to really get back probably a part 2 on this. So, Nadia, your final words on how to get back you, how to get the you back if you are in this type of relationship.
I would say to all women out there, if you suspect, or even to men who are with a narcissist woman, you need to very importantly know your worth. And you need to write down all the pros and the cons about the relationship, do a self-reflection, and ask yourself, does this relationship make me a better person? Does it make me miserable? And what am I bringing to the table? And what is my partner bringing to the table? And if you're bringing the bulk of it, it's not worth it. You need to understand that yes, it's very painful to break up and to leave somebody you love. But in the long run, they're going to make your life miserable. And they're not going to let you go until they've weakened you to the point where now they cannot use you anymore, and they're going to discard you and they're going to find their next victim. That is how it is with narcissists. So do you want to go through the pain now while you're still strong and you can move on with your life? Or do you want to be in that weak, totally broken state, heartbroken, unable to think, unable to have mental clarity, and you want them to do that to you? You need to decide. You have one life, so make it count and make it worth it.
Wow, that was totally awesome. Jazakallah so much for being here, and we're definitely going to do a part 2 on this because it is totally interesting, and we are totally in the dark about this. So we need this type of information.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Nadia, for
coming. Jazakallah for having me.
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Well then, there you have it. I leave you today with something to consider. If you don't like something, just take away its only power, your attention. Catch us next week on Lodium Today for another exciting episode. Assalamu alaikum. Watch our episodes on YouTube and subscribe to our profile. Also, stay in touch on Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, and we'll keep you up to speed with topics coming up next week. Don't miss an episode.